All right. The average number of cars going through a toll booth in a day is 1,000 with standard deviations of 150. The data is normally distributed, so we got our bell curve. Here it is, and that's a beaut. And again, our mean of 1,000 goes in the middle. Then we've got 1,150, 1,300, 1,450 over there to the right. And below the mean, we've got 850, 700, and 550. All right, now let's use this stuff. If a day is in the top 10%, all right, meaning, again, draw your bell curve. Top 10% would be over to the right, okay? Which means we need 90%. And why do we need 90%? Well, remember, your Z table only shows you the area to the left, okay? So we're looking for 90% in our Z table, and you'll notice it's super close to 1.28 and 1.29, but 1.28 is better, okay? So Z equals 1.28. Again, plugging that into the Z-score formula, okay? 1.28 equals X minus the mean, 1,000, times 150, or divided by 150, the standard deviation, all right? So multiply out the 150. All right, the 150s cancel out, leaving us with 192 equals X minus 1,000. Add the 1,000 over there, and we find out 1,192 would be the cutoff for the top 10%. Okay, so for our little conclusion sentence, if a day is in the top 10%, it will have at least 1,192 cars go through the booth. Not actually the booth, a little space in between the booths. There we go. Now you can read it, sort of. All right. If a 20% of the days have fewer cars, okay? Here we got my little bell curve. Fewer, 20% or fewer, which means that 20% is to the left, okay? Again, same idea, only now we're looking at the area to the left. So you look up 0.2 as your area for the Z table, okay? So 0.20. And again, you'll notice it's not perfectly 0.20, but the 0.2005 is the best one there. So that's negative 0.84. So again, negative 0.84 equals X minus 1,000 divided by 150. So same as before, multiply out the 150, add the 1,000, and we find out that X equals 874, okay? Which means the days that had 20%, or the days that had cars go through the booth more than 20% of other days would have 874 cars go through the booth on that day. All right, one more. Well, actually, it's two more. If 60% of the days have more cars go through the booth, all right, again, that means 60% is more than what we want. Again, 60% is to the right. Again, our Z table only shows us the area to the left, which means we're looking for 40%. Okay, and 40% is close to 50, which means the Z score is going to be very close to 0. All right. So closest to 40% would be negative 0.25. So that means that's our z-score. So negative 0.25, which means it's a quarter of a standard deviation below the mean. And again, we plug that into our z-score formula. So multiply out the 150, add back the 1,000, and we get 962 is equal to x. So again, the cutoff for 60% is 962. Okay, and I'm not going to write a conclusion sentence there because this is going a little long, but that leads me to the last one, which is going to take some time. All right. If an amount of cars for a certain day is in the middle 75%, so again, I got my bell curve here, and I'm saying 75% is in the middle. Well, that means the other 25% is combined with the left and the right. And again, this thing's symmetric. So that means 12.5% is to the left and 12.5% to the right. Well, 12.5% is a decimal, 0.125. So we go to our z-table and we're looking for 0.125. And there's one number that is almost exactly that, and that's negative 1.15 as the z-score. So technically, negative 1.15 is the lower bound of the z-score. Well, since this thing is symmetric, that means the upper bound is 1.15. Now we need to know the raw scores for these z-scores. So negative 1.15 equals x minus 1,000 divided by 150. And on the other side, it's the same thing, just with the positive. Okay, and again, multiply out the 150, add the 1,000, and we get 827.5. And honestly, if we're talking about the number of cars, that doesn't make sense. So I'm just going to round that up to 828. Okay, so that means the lower bound is 828. Well, what's the upper bound? Again, add 172, because again, that's 172 below average. And we get 1,172. Okay, so if a day is in the middle 75%, we don't know exactly how many cars are going through the toll booth, but we know there have to be somewhere between 828 and 1,172 cars going through the booth. All right. There's a few more pages of this fun stuff, so get at it.